In this lesson, we are going to load Adobe Fonts, or an Adobe font, in our Rise course. This is an old course I have, highlight.js integration. I want to change out those headings for my font that I found on Adobe Fonts. And here's a look at how I set up my theme components. Here's my SCORM content folder. And then I've got index, and then I made a backup, index original. Always good to make a backup if you're going to be modifying index, which we are. But I keep all my code in a separate folder. Make a new folder called theme, put my code in there, and I'll show you what we're going to be adding. And we're going to have some fun with this variable font. A lot of options. We're going to add to project. I'm going to find my project there. Then it looks like I have a regular plus italic, but they're named the same. I'm not sure why they're named the same. I'm just going to add both. I can check into that later, but for now I'm just going to make sure I can get fonts loading. And what I'm going to do, we're going to use the @import method. So I can switch. That's the link. I don't want that. I want the @import because I already have my own CSS file. So @import. Perfect. Here we go. This is the link that loads the actual font. So Adobe doesn't let you download the fonts, but we can just link to them nice and easy. That's where I pasted that link. That's going to load everything. All the fonts. But what I do need to do is add the link to my own CSS file. I call it adobefont.css. This keeps my code nice and modular so I can copy it to other courses. And you can see I already have some other theme components in there I'm linking to. There's adobefont.css. And okay. We should be done, right? I added the link. I'm actually not done. You can see I've got some more CSS that I've commented out for now. But I did add the link, and as long as I keep paying for my Adobe account, that'll still work. Okay, but I didn't actually see anything change, right? I'm not seeing any new fonts. Here's why. We have to tap into the design system that Rise 360 uses. And for the fonts, they are primarily using variables to control the headings and the body fonts. And so if I look at the root, I can see the variables for font family, body, and head both loading the enter font. So we're going to change that. We have to override those variables. This is what this code does. Font family, body, and head. And this is, I copied and pasted this from the Adobe Font Kit. This is going to override everything, including this bit down there. Rise, they don't use the variables consistently, unfortunately. And I haven't checked every single block, but okay, let's refresh. Now we've got my new font. I can see it's loading across the board, which I think is called Stos. I don't know how to pronounce my font. But anyway, now I'm thinking little too thick for the body font, and it's not going to affect my code block below. So now I'm thinking, let me just limit the font to my headings. So we're going to modify the CSS a little bit so it's only overriding the variable for my headings. So if I go back to that's my original file, index original. And yeah, if I compare the text, not very readable in the body. So I'm just going to comment out. Let me move my head around a little bit. My head variable should be up top probably. Because I'm going to comment out the body and the UI. The UI is used for like navigation and table of contents items, which is actually loading Lotto by default. I think in all the themes in Rise. Also going to comment that out. That part at the bottom also affects the UI fonts. It's not done consistently in Rise. I'm not sure why. But okay, so now refresh, limited to just my headings, and it looks pretty good. I mean, I don't actually like this font that much, but let's take a look at the options with this variable font. It's got like unlimited options in it. I'm going to make a new style here with a new selector. If you take my course, I show you how to get these selectors in place. And one of the new things we can do with variable fonts, let me just change the size right there a little bit. And I'm going to do text transform uppercase. And now, and that looks pretty good, but we've got a whole bunch of, and I'm going to save that for now. And I just did copy paste. I'm going to put this at the bottom of that CSS file I already set up. Hit refresh because I've updated risefont.css, and okay, it kept my changes. I see I've got the uppercase, the larger font size. Now let's take a look at some of these font settings, the variable font settings. I'm gonna copy that. Those are most of our options in here. I'm gonna go back to my debugger here, and I'm gonna do font variation settings, and I'm gonna paste that in from Adobe Fonts. These are my variations, variables. And now if I switch over to the Fonts tab, look at this. I can explore all the options I have available. It gives you like almost unlimited weights and widths of the characters. It's pretty amazing what you can do with it. And if you are going to use a variable font, you probably want to lock it down to just a couple weights and widths. Otherwise, it just becomes kind of inconsistent, right? So it gives you a lot of typographical power all of a sudden with these variable fonts. But be careful. I wouldn't overuse the variations too much. I'll be adding this code as a theme component to theme360.com. And if you're taking my upcoming course, I'll be giving you all the source files used in this video and more. So I'm going to lock this into the bottom of my CSS file, hit refresh, and I can see I've added my new font to the headings in my course.